I'm Bill Gough. My background story is I was an Allstate agent for many, many years, 27 plus years. But I got fortunate enough, had a great career at Allstate. Started hanging around some of the top agents about halfway through my career. We were able to do some pretty good things with that company. But my introduction to Dan Kennedy happened late 2004, 2005. I became a subscriber to the No BS newsletter. And today I subscribe to all his newsletters, I think around 5 in total. But I became hooked. I think I told Dan I grabbed one of his books, the No BS Time Management book. And after reading the first chapter, I knew it changed my life because there was a little exercise in there that told me what the value of my time was. So since then, I've told people if they to grab that book, and if they don't resonate with anything in the first chapter, just to throw it away. They're not ready for it yet. But same thing happened to me with Think and Grow Rich when I first got a hold of that book. But anyway, so I started reading the newsletter, became hooked on direct marketing because I'd worked for this big corporation for all these years and didn't know anything about direct response, but it really attracted, I was really attracted to it. And so I started, but I was really heavily involved with Allstate. I was involved in their national advisory board, serving on the board with those guys, and it's taken up a lot of my time. And but immediately when I learned about the Kennedy ways of doing things, I immediately got more autonomy in my agency. So we were ranked somewhere in the top 3% of all Allstate agents in the country by the time I met these guys. And quickly we moved up to the top 1%, with even within the top 1% of the 1% of the people in there. So it was, but it was great. So it's fair, but something really dramatic happened in my life, really personal, where I lost my son in 2007. And the timing for me was just right, that I wanted to change my life, and I wanted to start teaching what I'd learned in my career with both Allstate, and now Dan has helped take my life to another level by, with all the books that he writes, especially another one I reference to is the Wealth Creation book. And it's just not about, everything's just not all about making money in business. So I started, I started moving up into coaching memberships, and I joined Peak Performers, and, Bill Glazer in that time and Lee Miltier and Dan helped me form a coaching company called BGI Marketing. My website's bgimarketing.com, in which we started coaching Allstate insurance agents, just the same things that we knew. And it's taken off really, really well. It's so well that I was able to sell my 3 Allstate agencies in 2010, 11, and 12, and doing the coaching and consulting full time now. And we're up in the top. This is my 4th year up in second year with Dan in the Titanium group, and we're just having a lot of fun. So
you're one of the you're one of the few here who lives sort of in a corporate environment with corporate sensitivities and brand orientation and so forth. You want to talk a little bit about just for a minute or two, about the kind of the mind shift that you have to get the agents to make from that to what you teach them?
Only a minute or two?
I mean,
it's a challenge. I just try to tell my story. When I started hanging around the best guys, we would make fun of the big corporate stuff because they're trying to move the smaller guys all the way up, and it's hard to do that. But what I do now is that I tell them about the biggest advantage that we have running small businesses on Main Street, USA, is our relationships with our customers, prospects, and centers of influence. And I try to get them to realize that, and then you leverage the power of the Allstate brand behind that, and you've got an unbeatable combination. And I think we have a unique. When I'm talking to insurance agents, I think we have a unique marketplace, and they really resonate with that because they do know somewhat about what the other contracts are with the other companies out there.
Yeah, I mean, the point that I often make to small business people is, and increasingly, as a decade ago, everybody was talking about being up against the Walmarts. And like in your world now, they're up against the Geicos and the Progressives, and now kind of everybody's up against Amazon, et cetera, et cetera. And my point is always, if you're going to survive or prosper, you got to do what the big companies can't do or won't do. Because if you try and do what they do, you're going to lose every time. You don't have the bandwidth, you don't have the resources, you have a different economic formula. You know, I've always said small business people, our deal, of course today it doesn't work that well, but our deal was, you know, write the check on Tuesday for the advertising and hope you brought some money in by Thursday so you could cover the check before it bounced. Big companies have a very different economic formula than that, so copying them is, you know, not a good thing. You have to do what they won't do, can't do.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because it's how he systemized his business, and if you haven't, it's worth handing to your staff.